Okay, so before Yuri Geller was famous for doing spoon bending, which is what he was predominantly known for, his main thing that he did was people would think of an image or draw an image down, and then he would impossibly tell them what that image is. That's what he became known for before he did the spoon bending thing. It was like a clairvoyant thing or mind reading thing, and he kind of sat on the fence between the two, whether he was mind reading or whether he had like a special way of doing it. But he didn't actually ever let anybody know, right, how he did it. But that was what he was famous for, was for pulling pictures out of people's heads, right? And he was that good at it. And this is true. This isn't waffly bollocks. This is actually true. You can Google it with the powers of the internet, okay? The CIA picked up Yuri Geller in 1973. And from the 4th of August to the 11th of August, they took him to a secure compound somewhere in America, and they ran tests on him every day for 7 days to try and figure out how the fuck he did it, right? And this is the document by one of the scientists that was there at the time that details every part of that 7 days.
Right.
Of what happened. So it states on here, the objective of this group of experimental sessions is to verify Geller's apparent paranormal perception under carefully controlled conditions and to head toward an understanding of the physical and psychological variables underlying his apparent ability. Right? So they basically just wanted to take him and lock him in a room and figure out how the hell he did this stuff. The way that they did it is they actually put him in a hermetically sealed room. That's not Geller, that's a picture of a girl, right? But this was drawn at the time. So they put him in a hermetically sealed, soundproofed, airproofed room, airlocked room, behind 2 doors. There was no windows in this room, and there was 2 doors, one in, one out, like an airlock, right? And all that was in the room was a chair. He had a piece of paper and a pen, and they put an earpiece in him so they could tell him when to start. That was it. Yeah, and he was locked in this room, and then what they'd do is they'd get random people to draw random things, put them in an envelope, and stick them to the outside of the first door, right? So there was no way he could get anywhere near it. They would then go into his earpiece and say, okay, start the experiment now, Yuri, and he would just draw it. How? It's not possible. The first one he did on the first day. So,
you could do that. I'm going to put Matt in this hermetically sealed room with a dice.
It says, 2 drawings used in the first experiment selected by randomly opening a large college dictionary and selecting the first word which could reasonably be drawn. That's important. So they gave somebody a document, a college dictionary. They had to open the college dictionary or throw it up in the air and land on a page or something, randomly select this number, pick up to that page, and then go through each word in that document, whichever page it was.
Oh my God. Wouldn't it have been awesome if it landed on P and it was penis? Oh my God.
And you just had to draw cocks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they had to go through to the first word that could actually be, you could visualize as a thing and you could draw it. So the first one was a fuse. The first word was fuse, right? And he came up with all these random different stuff, and he had like a cylinder with noise coming out of it and heat and all the stuff that a fuse would be, and he drew a firecracker, right? That was the first one, which wasn't exactly a fuse, but that is a fuse going down into a firecracker, right? So it depends on your interpretation of the word fuse, because a fuse to me is something that goes into an electrical thing like you get on motorbikes and cars and stuff, but that is also a fuse.
Yeah.
So they were like, it's good, pretty inconclusive, the word fuse, and then he comes up with that. It could be interpreted in many different ways.
Yeah.
They then, the weirdest one that he did, and this was like later on in the week, and they got somebody to draw, so you've got all these different random pictures of stuff. He drew God, he drew a sausage, that's Earth, that's space, or like spaceship and stuff. And these are all things that people pulled, like a bridge. These are all things that people pulled out of these documents that then had to draw them. The weirdest one, which was towards the end, and bearing in mind, halfway through the week, they did it in various different ways. So I think they did it with him inside the room, and then him outside of the room with somebody inside the room. They also changed locations about halfway through the week to use a different sealed room, just to make sure that he hadn't been able to get in. And I mean, it's a CIA fucking government building. There's no way he got in there beforehand. But just to make sure, they changed the building halfway through. And he didn't know that until at the time. So halfway through the week, they went, yeah, we're not going there today. We're going to go over here. And there's a different room. And so there's no way he would have even known that. So he couldn't have got into that room to tamper it. And every single time he smashed it. Like, really bizarre. To the point where that was what the person drew. So they just said to this person, one of the scientists, so not someone they'd brought in, not someone that he could have influenced, one of the scientists to draw something. The scientist drew that.
Grapes.
Bunch of grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah? You want to see what Yuri drew? You want to see?
Yes, I do. Wow.
Fucking identical. Not only was the size and the way that the stem came off exactly the same, there was 24 grapes, which is exactly the same as the one on the picture on the previous page. That's not the same picture. That's a different picture. That's one picture. That's the other picture. Two different pictures.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Wow.
How the fuck did he do that?
Did you have an impression pad?
I think they supplied him with the piece of paper.
Oh, right, okay.
To be honest. But nobody could figure out how he did it.
At one point, did he get to the scientist to rip the paper up?
So, one of the main things here is, as a result of Geller's success in this experimental period, we consider that he has demonstrated his paranormal perceptual ability in a convincing and unambiguous manner. Unambiguous is a very important word there. So basically, the CIA have locked Yuri Geller in a room, in a sealed room, for a week, and they've just gone, he's obviously a mind reader. He was that good, he fooled the CIA. But how? Do you know? Do you know this story?
He's fooled the entire world for like 40 years.
Exactly.
So.
Do you know this story?
Do
you know this happened?
No.
Really? It's genuinely, I'm not playing, it's genuinely true. You can Google it right now. It's a real thing.
Believe you.
Do you know, you don't know how he did it?
No.
Nobody knows how he did it.
No.
Or do they?
I don't know.
Yuri's thing was, he never told anybody whether it was supernatural, clairvoyant, like weird shit, or whether he'd figured out a method of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of sitting in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knew which side of the fence that he sat on.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of, I can do this, with no kind of inkling or hint as to how. He just did it.
Got it.
Should we try it?
Okay.
Can make this as fair as possible. I'm going to put that there so I can't see it. Move this towards me. What I need you to do in a second is just grab a page.
Yeah.
Yeah? Look at one. Don't look at a bunch of them because you're going to confuse me. Look at one page. Pick a page. Yeah?
Yeah.
Lift up. Have a look at that page. If it's words, if there's a document, do what they did. Look through for the first word that you can imagine as an image.
Okay.
If it's an image, imagine that image.
Okay.
Okay? Hold this with your left hand. Look up, and when you've had a look at the picture, drop it back down, drop the folder down on top. Got it?
Yeah.
Sure?
Got it.
Get that out of the way. Fair?
Very fair.
Multiple page document. Quite a thick document.
Yeah.
Could have been any page.
Could be any
I still
page.
don't know if you looked at a word or an image. Could be anything.
Honestly, at this point, I'd be so impressed if you could do this. You'd be like some sort of Svengali. Like, it'd be amazing.
It'd be incredible, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Shut up.
It's a weird one. See, what am I doing?
Drawing.
Am I reading your mind? Or do I have another method?
Would you like me to really answer that?
No. I think I've got it. For the first time, will you tell these good people at home what you saw?
I saw a heart with an arrow through it, like Cupid's arrow.
Like that?
Just like that.
Just like that. So maybe there's two people that can do this. Yuri and me. I rest my case. If the CIA are watching, I'm open for interrogation. Please take me during the school holidays because it's really busy here though and I'd like a week off. Thanks. See you soon.